Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Late Night Linux Extra, recorded on the 16th of June 2018, and I'm Joe. In this episode I'm going to be speaking to one of the GIMP developers, Jehan Pagès. So let's get straight on with that. So welcome to the show, Jehan.
Well, thank you.
So I've asked you to come on and talk about the relatively new release of GIMP 2.10, which took 6 years to develop, so it's quite a big deal, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a very big release. It's like you can check the release note and you just scroll and yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't think we're going to have time to go through all of the new features because, as you say, if you look at the release notes, you're just scrolling and scrolling. There's so much new in there. What for you is the most important new thing in there, or the most important new things?
I'm not sure. I like a lot of stuff, but probably some of the stuff which I really like is like probably the effects. Now you can see a preview of the effect on canvas. Previously, when you were playing an effect, you will have sometimes nothing, and sometimes if you had a preview, you had like this little box where you can see a little piece of your image, and then you have to test with this, and then you hit OK, and then you wait for a few seconds or minutes if it's a big effect, and then you say, oh, it's not it, and then you say Ctrl-Z to undo and try again.
Yeah.
But now you have like a direct preview on the canvas, so with whatever zoom you want, and you can see the whole image or just a part of it or whatever. That's, I think, one of my favorite new features. What else? Well,
there's a new theme as well, isn't there?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, a lot of, I mean, I'm partially responsible for the new theme. That's something I pushed a lot because a lot of people, were complaining and everything about, this, and especially to get a dark theme. I mean, it's nice. It's very nice, but it's not like, for me personally, it's not like the major feature. it's just something nice. We have dark theme and we have symbolic icons, and a lot of people's, I mean, you have both extremes with symbolic icons. For instance, some people will tell you have to have symbolic icons because, like, it's distraction free and everything. That's the whole base of the concept. And other people say with symbolic icons, you cannot see anything. I mean, you cannot recognize your tools anymore or the buttons, and because colors were nice for this.
Yeah, because by default, it's quite grayscale, isn't it, now?
Yeah. Actually, we even had like some designers from GNOME who will tell us like just drop all the color icons and just do the symbolic ones. But we still decided to have both of them so you can change in preferences. But by default, it's very grayscale, yeah.
There's quite a lot of new preferences generally, aren't there? Everything's more configurable now.
Yeah, there are a lot of new ones indeed, but there were already a lot, and probably too many.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's actually one of the problems of GIMP. I think we have too many preferences. It's like, even I sometimes discover stuff in our preferences.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been here. I mean, I've been coding on GIMP only for the last 6 years actually. So just after 2.8, and but I still discover stuff, and they're like, yeah, I think there are too many preferences.
So how many other people are working on GIMP at the moment?
It depends how you see it. I will say like GIMP core itself, like the repository of GIMP, it's mostly 3 people right now doing most of the job. So we had so the 3 people is like Michel Natero, Mitch, which is a maintainer, and someone who is called LELL, and who we never met, so we think he's a robot or some spy or something, because he is invited every year when we gather together, Clip Graphics meeting and everything, but he doesn't come. And he's very good. And me. And then sometimes we have some, like, recently we had like a very old contributor, ZeMarmot, who actually made a lot of patches, and he did, so sometimes some people come back and suddenly do a lot, but yeah, Mostly right now there's 3 people doing a lot. It's us 3. But then you have also Gaggle, which is one of the big thing about 2.10 is actually like the graphics engine, which is now Gaggle, which is a library, and separated from GIMP. So GIMP is mostly, not completely, but a lot of like basically a graphical interface around Gaggle. And they are also contributors on Gaggle, like Pippin. I cannot say, we always just call him Pippin, who is a maintainer of Gaggle, and he's doing a lot of work also.
Okay. And so that is what the fundamental change for this release is, isn't it? This Gaggle generic graphics library.
Yeah, there are a lot of other stuff too. But this was like the red string. I think you can say this, right? The red string of the work on 2.10. 2.10 was released to change the graphical engine to be fully Gaggle, basically.
Okay.
But then in 6 years, of course, a lot of people will contribute all the features, and of course, we don't reject the features in this case, especially when they are cool features.
Yeah.
So we include them. But the red string was, porting to Gaggle, porting GIMP's internal graphics computation to Gaggle. Of course, I'm thinking when you asked me before, a lot of everything which is Gaggle related is also like one of the big thing of GIMP 2.10. Like, we have like high bit depths for colors, color channels, and potentially soon we will have non-destructive editing, and
Okay, cool. So you're sitting here talking to me using Linux, Fedora, you told me, and I'm sitting here using Ubuntu. And it's easy to imagine that GIMP is only used by Linux users, but that's not the case, is it? There's a Windows version, and there was previously versions for Mac OS X. Do you have any idea of the kind of user numbers or the split between how many people are using it on Linux versus how many people are using it on Windows and Mac?
No, we don't keep statistics at all, like on website or whatever. And I mean, there are discussions from time to time on whether we could maybe just make download statistics and stuff like that. But currently we don't have statistics. We know it's a lot because, for instance, at some point before it went bad, we were hosting the Windows installers on SourceForge.
Yeah.
And I can't remember, but like the daily download numbers of the Windows installer were huge.
So you don't have statistics, but do you have a feeling for how, is it maybe half the people on Linux, half on Windows, or is it more like 80%? What do you think?
I think we have more Windows people, probably. If we just base ourselves on bug reports, probably we could say like it's the same because we have a lot of Linux bug reports. But actually, we also know that, people on Linux, a lot of them are used to report bugs.
Yeah.
So, yes, and we still have a lot of Windows bug reports and everything. But, and I mean, GIMP is one of these software which a lot of people use all around the world, and they don't even know it's free software or whatever, and they just, we know it's very used, so I think we have a lot more Windows users.
Yeah, well, the people around the world using it know that it's gratis, but not necessarily Libre free.
Yeah,
I think that's why it's so popular, maybe.
Probably.
Just briefly on the Mac OS version, like there used to be for OS X, but now the newer versions of Mac OS aren't supported anymore.
No, it's not unsupported. It's just we have no package.
Oh, right.
I mean, so actually, I'm pretty sure there are packages, third-party packages made by other people than the core team. But just our main contributor, for the macOS, package he doesn't have a lot of time lately.
Right.
And that's just it. And actually it's, that's actually one of the problems is that we have a lot of users on Windows or Mac OS, but we basically have nearly no contributors on Windows or Mac OS. All the core developers are using Linux, and most patches we get, like one-time patches, are from people on Linux or BSD or something. But
I see. So that kind of means that it's disproportionate that most of the users aren't helping out. So that kind of sucks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed that the new version was available as a Flatpak on the website. Presumably that is a bit of a problem for you guys. You spend all this time developing it, and then Linux distributions are lagging really far behind, and they're not going to necessarily get it. So that's why you've gone this Flatpak route. But there is a snap available, but it's not made by you guys. It's made by people at Canonical. Is that something that you had anything to do with and have any desire to get involved with?
We don't have any desire to get involved with any other like packages.
Yeah.
But we are always interested if they want to make it upstream. Like if they want to basically be part of the core team.
Yeah.
So what we always say, like, there's also like, what's this other app image?
Yeah.
There's also this app image package made by someone. And, if this person wanted, and same for the Snap one, wanted to make like, an official GIMP team package for Snap or app image or whatever else, we are open to this.
Okay, because the Snap at the moment is a little bit behind because you're on a couple of point releases now, aren't you? Whereas I think the Snap hasn't caught up with those yet. So it would be good if you could work with those guys together in some sort of official capacity.
The point also was we don't want to have too much work on us, so we already ask if people want to contribute. So if he wants, and he makes scripts and whatever, and we can have it maybe running on our servers or whatever.
Yeah.
To make the snaps regularly and improve it. But we don't want to do it ourselves, basically.
Yeah, you don't want the extra work,
Exactly.
Which kind of makes sense. You're a small team. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this new version is still based on GTK 2.
Yeah.
How long is it going to be before we get a GTK 3 or even 4 version?
I don't know. We don't know, so we cannot say because we don't know. Just that's it. And, we started working on the GTK 3 version. It's now the new master, our main source repository is the GTK 3 version, but you can already build it and it works and everything, but don't use it for production. It's not good for production.
Yeah. And is that going to be version 3.0 then of GIMP?
Yeah, it will be 3.0. Yeah. So, we don't know when it will be released. I mean, if we continue as we are doing now, which is kind of very high rate of commits and everything, I hope it will be a lot faster than between 2.8 and 2.10. I think it could be, but we'll see. And but also there's something which is like a main difference between before. And maybe you may have noticed this already with GIMP 2.10.2, because we already had the second release of 2.10. We decided we could add new features or basically changes in the 2.10 series. Because before this, we had like this common release politics about, like all the 2.8 dot something were just bug fixes releases. And now 2.10 dot something can have features, and 2.10.2 already had some new features, and 2.10.4 will also have new features because we already have new stuff in the branch and so on.
So when you get to version 3, it's not going to be a huge difference like it is between 2.8 and 2.10 is what you're saying? Well,
it will still be a huge difference, I think, but at least everything which can be backported, we will backport it. Basically.
Okay.
I mean, there's still a difference just because it's GTK 2 or GTK 3 and that's already a lot of stuff will be a lot better. But yeah, like everything which can be backported will be backported before.
Yeah. In terms of help then, what can people do to help the project out? What do you need mostly? Is it developers? Is it testers? Is it translators? What do you need?
Everything. everything. We have very few developers, and especially on Windows and macOS, we're just trying to keep all the Windows and macOS developers who make patches sometimes, and until now it's not really working. But also even just generic like Linux developers, we are very few, so there is a lot to do. And so if you want to help, you can. But then, of course, a lot of other stuff. Now we have had a new website. If you saw, it has been like 2 or 3 years, I think. And we have like this news feed. So we're trying to have a lot more news now, regular news on what we do and everything. And we were discussing that if like even communities, they want just make, I don't know, workshop or whatever GIMP related, and they want to tell about it. And we'd welcome news, local news. And if you want to make tutorials, our tutorials right now on GIMP.org, they are all crap. They're all old. And we have a few new, but they're very few and on very few topics. And mostly old tutorials, or I think actually we even like removed a lot of them or hid them. I don't know. So manual, like I think a lot of the screenshots are very old screenshots from older version, and text can be improved, and everything can be, you can help on everything.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for coming on and giving me your time, and hopefully the next version will be sooner rather than later, and you can come back and tell me all about that one.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. And thank you very much.
Great to talk to Jehan there. And GIMP is just one of those projects that you think is kind of bigger than it is because everyone uses it. It's in basically every distro. I use it all the time, albeit not for very complex things. But to find out that there's only a few developers working on it, it really makes you think. But one thing that he emailed me about afterwards, where he forgot to mention ZeMarmot. I think ZeMarmot, I'm not sure how you say it, ZeMarmot, which is a 2D animation film that he and some other people are working on. And they've got a Patreon for that. So I'll put a link to that in the show notes anyway. That's kind of funding his work on GIMP. It's a film that is made with totally free software with GIMP and Blender and stuff like that. So I look forward to seeing that when it comes out. There's a teaser trailer available on YouTube. So do definitely check that out. So at this point, I would have normally done a bit of admin and then gone into the second interview. But unfortunately, there isn't one because I had lined one up with someone. But that did not work out for various reasons. I won't go into it, but I was let down as the bottom line there by circumstance as much as anything else, but it is what it is. And that leads me on to bad news, I'm afraid. We're only 4 episodes into this, but I think that this is it, unfortunately. For various reasons, this has just not really worked out. The thing is that once I'm on Mumble talking to the guest, it's great. I get to talk Linux, which I love doing more than almost anything else, and free software generally. And I find out loads about really interesting projects, and everything that I've talked about on this show so far has been great. However, it's the organization of it that is just too stressful. Trying to organize 2 guests every couple of weeks, you wouldn't think it would be that much stress, but it just is. And it means having to record at funny times when people are available. And it means that I'm just constantly worried about it and thinking about it, who's going to be the next person, and trying to book them and all the rest of it. And it's just got too much for me. It's only been 4 shows, but that is 2 months, and I have been able to gauge what it's like. And I just massively underestimated how much work this was going to be. And I know this is going to be a disappointment, especially to people who've, pledged on Patreon or whatever as a direct result of this. And obviously I'm going to understand if people don't want to contribute anymore. I mean, we're still doing the main show, obviously. This now not doing extra anymore, at least for the time being, is going to free up some time for me to do various other things. I've got various other podcasts in the pipeline. Nothing concrete yet, but this will hopefully free up time for me to do some other content, which will hopefully be a little bit less stressful to put together. So yeah, sad really, but I think that I have to cut my losses now. I don't want to just keep doing this and keep getting stressed about it. And the other thing is the audio quality as well. That is something that I always strive for in all of my podcasts, is to have the best audio quality that I can. And the guests, they're very interesting people. They're working on really cool stuff, but generally they're using laptop mics. And, it's not great all around, really. It's not the show that I wanted it to be. And I think I've just got to do this now. So I'm very sorry, everyone, for messing you around like this. But there will be more content coming soon. I don't know exactly what that's going to be, but there will be something. And we'll keep this RSS feed around for if there's stuff that doesn't fit in the main show, if there's, longer versions of interviews, maybe, I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen? But I know that the main show, the plan is very much to keep that going. That is something that I'm really enjoying and have been for a long time. I'm really enjoying the new lineup. Graham and Will are great additions. Jesse might be coming back soon. I don't know. We'll have to see about that. But I suppose at least for the time being, then that'll do it for Late Night Linux Extra. See you later.